So the first shirt I'm gonna show you is how to make a spiral. So I'm gonna use the fork. I'm gonna go wherever I want the middle of my spiral to be. And I'm gonna hold it down, and then I'm just gonna start twisting the fork onto the shirt and spiraling. You're gonna have to use your hands to kind of help the shirt spiral around the fork. All right, so now that I've got most of the spiral, I'm using my hands and just kind of helping the edges of the shirt go around. Then you're gonna need rubber bands. I would do at least 3 for this. And you're gonna kind of stretch the rubber band out and then slide it over top of the shirt. Again, so I have 1. I'm gonna do another one, stretching it out, sliding it over my shirt to where I want it. And I'm putting the rubber bands around to make, it almost looks like it's divided up into pie slices. And I'm gonna put 1 more around so that it keeps it all in place. Then, last but not least, you're gonna need some tape and 1 more rubber band. So that now that they're all tied up, so we know whose is whose, I'm gonna take a little bit of tape. I'm going to put it on the rubber band. All right, so I just folded it in half, taped it to itself. And then I'm gonna use a Sharpie. And you're gonna write your name and your room number, and if you can fit it, your table color onto that piece of tape. And then add that rubber band right over top of another one. And then our tied up shirts are gonna go on the shelf, labeled with your class, so that we can dye them the next art. To tie a bullseye design, and so you're going to pick where you want the center of your target to be. And it could be anywhere, it could be the middle of your shirt, it could be over your shoulder, right? Anywhere you want it to be. And you're gonna pinch wherever you want the center to be. And you're gonna pull your shirt straight up, and kind of dangle it so it comes down, so it kind of comes to a point. So I pulled it straight up, I'm holding it at the top. And we're gonna use rubber bands, starting at the top. I'm just gonna rubber band that into place. And then I'm gonna do another one all the way down until it's got rubber bands holding it in place all the way down. And this is, I like to do like 4, you could do more, you could do less, but the rubber bands are also going to kind of help show you where you're going. The middle one's always the hardest. Kind of show you where you're going to put your dye. They're kind of your guide mark to where you're gonna put each color. I'm gonna need a rubber band with a piece of tape on it. And on the tape, you're writing your name and your room number. You're adding that over top of another rubber band onto your shirt, so we know whose it is even while it's tied up. So each of your tables, which are going to be covered in paper, you're going to have a blue Lowe's bucket with your shirts in it already soaking. You're going to have Ziploc bags, and you're going to have your bottles of dye with a piece of tape on it showing you what color that dye is. Before you can get your shirts out of the bath, out of the bucket, you need to get a bag for each shirt. So if you're doing 1 shirt, you need 1 bag, and with a Sharpie, you need to write your name and your room number. If you're doing 2 shirts, you need 2 bags. You want to have these ready to go because otherwise it's going to be very hard to be writing it when you're already a mess. Set them aside, either in the middle of your table or on a corner. Then you're gonna get your shirt out of the bucket. Find which one is yours with its tag on it. And you're gonna wring it out. Get all the extra water out of it. The water's gonna feel a little bit weird because it's got soda ash in it, but it's not gonna hurt you. It's just gonna feel a little weird. So once you've got it all wrung out, there's no water dripping. You're gonna lay it on your table, and now you're ready to dye it. Okay, when we tied it, this is for a bullseye. Remember, we were tying it so that the ties formed the stripes. I can keep the pattern. If you're just dyeing it willy-nilly, it's not gonna stay. It's not gonna look like a bullseye, okay? So now you have 4 colors. You've got black, you've got blue, you've got yellow, and you've got red or fuchsia. So if you want there to be green, right, you would have to do blue and yellow, and they would be able to blend. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna go 1 stripe at a time. I don't have to soak the whole paper around it. I'm just gonna do one side, flip it over, do the other side. Then I'm gonna do the next. I'm gonna make this mine into a rainbow, I think. So I'm gonna do the next section. I do one side, I rotate it, do the next side. It's okay if it's not coming out fast. It might drip. If I wanted there to be more orange where the fuchsia and the yellow meet, I could add a little bit more right where they meet. All right, I don't have big puddles left over. Yes, the paper is getting messy, but I'm not leaving big puddles. I'm doing the next section. See where the yellow and the blue meet? It's starting to turn green. So once I've got the whole thing dyed, when I pick it up, there shouldn't be any dye dripping off, right? It's covered, but it's not soaked and dripping. And then I'll grab my bag, take my shirt, carefully put it in my bag. Zip it closed, and that one's done, ready to go home. If you're doing a spiral, right, you've got your shirt tied up to look like a pie. We're still using the rubber bands to help guide us where we're putting our dye, but instead of stripes, it's like triangles, little pie slices. So I'm gonna start with one color. Again, I'm gonna do rainbow. You could do a pattern, like maybe you wanted to do yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black. Maybe you only wanted to use yellow and blue, whatever. I'm gonna do the whole rainbow, but I'm doing 1 triangle. Just trying to stay within my pie. And flip it over, do the other side, the same pie piece. Don't worry about trying to get inside of those wrinkles, just cover the surface you can see. And I'm gonna do the next pie slice. I'm doing the next, I'm trying to stay inside of the triangle. Doesn't have to be perfect, but trying. And then I'm flipping it over, doing the rest of the pie slice. And then the next color. And I'm just covering it. I'm not soaking it. And even though I'm not trying to blend them together, as you can see where they touch, they're starting to mix. Even though I'm only doing red, yellow, and blue, I'm starting to see where the green is coming, and orange and purple. Oh, mine's dripping a little bit. So you might have to ask Miss Boland. If it's dripping, I put in too much dye. So I'm gonna carefully ask Miss Boland to help me squeeze it out. And there's the mess. And then I got my other bag. Uh-oh. Got my other bag. Sliding it on in. And zippering it up to go home. Ta-da!